Hey there, guys. How's it going? My name is Sumedh Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. So today I want to speak to you guys about how to become a flow state magician, just like Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is a detective novel by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, I believe. And it's also a show. So fun. Like, how do I say that name with a serious face? Benedict Cumberbatch. Okay. Anyway, basically what I want to teach you guys is how to enhance your memory. You see, Sherlock, he's a detective technically, right? What he does is he has keen observation skills. I would actually, compare him a little bit to MacGyver, how he uses whatever he can around him to be able to solve the mystery and look for clues. Right? Why, I don't think I found another clue here, buddy. So I want you to have keen observation skills first and foremost, right? Observe things around you, notice a little smudge, a little ketchup somewhere, and try to make inferences about those things, right? Try to come to some kind of a conclusion and practice cold reading. Cold reading is really important, and if you generally have hunches or ideas or little premonitions or your intuition kicks in, just try and follow the feeling, right? Follow the feeling, and you'll end up at the end of the result that you really want, right? But it's great because Sherlock, he has this mission of just like looking for all of the things out there and scattering it in his mind, and then he sort of rearranges it, finds the missing pieces, and blends it all together, essentially. First and foremost, you want to notice how calculated and tactical he is, right? So this kind of calculation, it happens from a very mathematical type of mind, right? Now, I have absolutely despised math growing up, but still I've been able to calculate in my mind still and have a little calculated approach into deep thinking and deconstructing things and breaking things down and contextualizing them in a broader frame and like looking at it in terms of smaller chunks or specific pieces of the puzzle, right? What I've been able to do is understand how he does this, and he does this using something called the memory palace. I'm sure a lot of you know the memory palace. So I won't get into the details of the legend and the coding with the numbers and then putting the numbers with you don't need all those details, okay? What I want you to really practice doing is imagine a place that you already know very, very well, okay? Imagine a place that you're going to every day, or like it's the back of your hand. It could be your own house even. Your own house or your own apartment is very, very good because you know it, you're there all the time. You can imagine the layout very, very clearly and distinctly in your brain, right? There's something called conscious competence, but then there's also unconscious competence, right? Which is in the back of your mind, your subconscious brain. It's just second nature to you. Your skill set is just very natural to you. And it's a part of your general protocol in the way that you see and perceive the world, but also how you're behaving and how you naturally are there. So to be able to really get to that unconscious competence, what you want to be doing is using certain techniques and tools. This memory palace is a tool like that, where you can actually be, first of all, I want you to notice this. If you are the type of person to identify with not remembering, you're not going to remember, okay? So if you're like, oh man, yeah, I'm really bad at remembering things. I have a memory. I've forgotten, I forget things all the time. I'm so clumsy, Oh, it's always been me, I can't even, understand that. Oh, I don't believe that. Whatever your excuses are, let them go right now. You can believe you do have a good memory, convince yourself you have a good memory, and then we can finally begin. Because if you have all these rationalizations and storylines about, oh, I have a bad memory, I've never really had a photographic memory ever since I was young, forget all those storylines and tell yourself, I have a good memory. I have photographic memory. I can remember things super well. I'm very, very skilled at being a memory connoisseur. Okay, that's where I want you to begin, first and foremost. The next phase, how to create a memory palace. Okay, so let's take the layout of your own home or your own apartment or wherever you are, right? Or you can even use like your friend's home or somewhere, your Gold's Gym, somewhere where you go, right? Somewhere where the construct and the apartment settings, you know it very well, okay? So let's take that layout of a home, right? There's a door, you enter, there's like a kind of a pathway here, and then you know, okay, if I turn left, there's a bathroom here. So you kind of have the organization, and if you create like a floor plan in your own mind, then you can understand this is where this is, this is where this is. But then I want you to create, where do you go to first, where do you go to second, where do you go to third, where do you go to fourth, where do you go to fifth, where do you go to 10th? Okay, so really create a floor plan and then create a way out of the room itself. So you go, one, you turn left, you use the restroom, you come out and you go to the kitchen, and then you come out and you're back in the living room, and then you go in. You see what I'm saying? So create like a floor plan and a dynamic where you visit 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so create it like that in your own mental map. Then what I want you to do is the things you wish to remember, put them in the different areas of your room. The thing you got to remember first, the thing you got to remember second, or all of these are different objects or ideas or people that you want to remember. Let's say you have to remember your uncle. You have to call your uncle about some kind of a thing related with ducks, right? Like maybe you're going duck hunting with your uncle. But let's use that as a vague example. I know it's a silly one, but let's use that as an example, okay? So you enter your memory palace and immediately you go, okay, you open the door, right? And then you turn left where you usually go to. You put your keys in the little cupboard there, and then you notice like, oh, your uncle's sitting there watching TV in the living room. And you remember, oh, uncle, I have to contact my uncle. But what do I have to contact him for again? Then you go and this is all in your mind, right? By the way, you're not actually doing this. So in your mind, and then you're turning and you're going into your room, and then you see this giant duck in your room. And you're like, oh, my uncle, I have to call him about duck hunting. Okay, there we go. You see, so what you're doing is you're actually creating a room where you can go visit. But now if you have a palace, now you have floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, floor 4. And you can do this in various rooms, right? And you can use the stairs as a kind of transition point between rooms as well. You can get really, really creative here, guys. But I'm just giving you the basic framework and the basic model of this. So the way we remember things are in various ways. But one of the things is our attention goes towards things that are moving very fast, or they're very, very bright colors, very gawky, bright colors. Like that's why you go to like Vegas and you see all these bright lights and you're like you're bewildered by it because it's everywhere. Right, all these colors and blinking lights. So let's say you want to remember, you want to remember to take hand sanitizer to your workplace. Let's say that, okay? So you're in your mind memory palace, right? You're walking around, and then you go to a certain room, like let's say you walk into the kitchen in your mind, and you see this giant hand sanitizer. So instead of a tiny one, we're making it much more bizarre. We're making it much more bizarre and abstract, okay? So a small hand sanitizer bottle becomes giant. So you walk in and it's like, you're kind of like trying to squeeze it like this, right? It's so giant. And it can also be glowing, right? Glowing very bright in your mind. So that actually helps you remember it more. If it's a tiny little hand sanitizer, it gets lost. But if it looks bizarre or it's out of the ordinary, we'll be able to remember it more. Now, what you can also do is you can get super creative here and combine different things together that you have to remember in one room, right? Let's say you have to remember, I have to take this to the post office on Wednesday. I have to go to the gym. Then I have to also tell my sister about that thing on Friday, a party, right? So you could have the first one, let's say use the gym, right? So post-gym party. We'll take those three. You walk into a certain room in your memory palace, in your mind, one of the rooms in your memory palace, right? Let's say floor 1. And you go into one of the rooms and you notice in one of the rooms that there is a mailman, but he's wearing a party hat, okay? A giant mailman, and he's wearing a party hat. He's just like lying there in your bed like this. He's like, hey, what's up, buddy? And you're like, who invited you? Bro, what are you doing in my house? You know what I mean? Like, you're like, what are you doing here, right? And the last thing was gym, right? So maybe he's doing bicep curls in your bed or something like that, right? So now you're like, what the heck is going on, right? But that what the heck, that shock therapy, that immediate looking at that and remembering that in your mind will make you remember the three things. Okay, he's wearing a party hat, so I have a party to attend. What party? Oh yeah, my sister's party. Maybe it says Sis's Sweet 16 or something on the party hat itself or something like that, right? And then he's like curling the dumbbells, and on the dumbbell it says your gym's name on the dumbbells. And he's a postman, so obviously there's like maybe mail scattered all over the floor. Yeah, so that's a very bizarre example, but the more bizarre you can make the scenario in your mind, the more easier it is to remember. These are mnemonic devices, okay? Now, mnemonic devices just generally, very, very useful for memory. And I use this all the time. You have to become super hyper creative to be able to do this and really flourish with it. Like if you want to remember somebody's name, do you forget names all the time? I know I do, right? Especially if it's a bizarre name. You're going to have to associate that name with something else. Let's say you want to remember Tony. You imagine Tony's face, whoever he is, on a box of Frosted Flakes, like Tony the Tiger, right? An easy, very easy example of that. Or let's say someone's name is Checkwin. I don't know. That's a random name. Checkwin Alaspagas, right? Let's say that's his name. Checkwin Alaspagas, okay? You could say a check win, okay? So winning a check in the mail, all right? So I'll associate him with that. And then Alaspagas, Alas kind of sounds like Las Pacas kind of sounds like Las Vegas. So let's make him like some dude at a casino who's getting checks as he wins in the casino. Right? I just did that right now, guys, okay? This is how your mind has to actually rapidly work. You can't be like, what was that dude's name again? I don't know. You have to give effort into remembering things. Only will you then remember things, okay? I don't know if Sherlock does it like this, but this is how I do it. All right, I'm sure he uses a similar method in terms of using his mind like a measuring device almost. It's like, yeah, being able to zoom things in, zoom things out, look at it all in one perspective, see it all in this kind of frame, and then kind of close the lid on that and then go into another space in his mind. That's how he really does this. And so that's what I would like you guys to do as well. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary.